He worked with Ben Moody, the guy who wrote a lot of the songs on
yeah.
the first Evanescence record, on Under My Skin too. Tell me about working with Ben. Did you enjoy the writing process with Ben?
Was working with what is his name? The producer, Don Gilmore.
Yeah.
I was working with Don Gilmore, and he brought up working with Ben to me. He goes, "Why don't you try writing with Ben Moody?" And I was like, "Okay." So he hooked us up together, and it was cool. We were like two, young people. We got tattoos together. We had a good time, and yeah.
Yeah, he's Ben's another great guy. Really good guy. Waiting for his first solo record to come out. Hopefully it'll be done soon.
Yeah.
He's been writing a lot of songs for it. This stuff sounds very good.
Cool.
It's really, really cool stuff. So tell me about with the new album, with the whole damn thing. You also, Evan, who was in your band originally, wrote a couple songs on the record too. Now, Evan, was it?
Yeah.
What ended up happening?
Well, Evan has been around. I've known Evan since my first record, and he was the original guitar player. You'll see him in a lot of my first videos. And he just basically went off and did his own thing, and he has a record deal, and he's working on his own record, but we've remained friends. And we wrote about 4 songs for this record together, and it's really cool because we're both, we're the same age, and he's one of my good friends, and it's just so cool to be like, yes, he's a part of the record, and he's excited, and
yeah, he was with you from day one. Where did you guys meet? Did you meet him originally when you came to New York? Or
yes,
did you,
I met him when he came to kind of audition for the band.
I see.
And picked him. And
yeah, when it came, besides working with Butcher Walker on the new record, you also worked with the Doctor. Who still worked,
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah, tell me about Luke and hooking up with him, and what was that experience
I
like?
had no idea who Luke was, and I met him, and he came over to my house, and I just basically was like, "What have you done? What do you like? How much do you, And he explained he told me who he's produced and worked with, and so basically, I just grabbed a guitar at my house and was like, "Okay, let's start." I'm so spontaneous like that, and then we pretty much worked for about 4 or 5 months together, just us, probably 4 months in the studio, and I definitely can say I had the most fun on this record, like in the studio, sometimes too much fun. Yeah. We were like drinking and partying and just like hanging out. Sometimes we wouldn't start writing until midnight, and it's fun. It's exciting when you get with someone new that you click with, because there's an excitement, and we had good chemistry.
That's really cool. That's great. Who else ended up coming in on this record with you?
I brought Rob Cavallo in to produce one of my ballads, Innocence. I wrote Innocence with Evan, and
Rob, of course, everybody knows he's worked with Green Day and My Chemical Romance.
Yeah, and I brought him in because I'm a huge fan of the Goo Goo Dolls. I love the song Iris.
It was your wedding song.
Yeah. And so I had this ballad, and I was trying to think, what producer do I want to do this? I didn't want it to be a pop producer, like a main pop producer, because I wanted the track to have a lot of feel and be really creative. And I knew that he could do that. So we did that. We worked on that song together, and it's cool because, he's done a lot, and he's really talented.
So, Avril, tell me about, besides the country stuff you love, who are some of your favorite artists? What kind of stuff do you listen to when you have time by yourself or when you're on the road?
I'm not really a country fan, but like the only people I like in country is like the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah.
And then as far as the stuff I listen to Blink, the Distillers. I like Peaches. I like the Pixies, Radiohead. I like a lot of, older, kind of more rock bands.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, you mentioned some cool people, some powerful women that are in bands there, like Kim Deal from the Pixies, and Peaches, who's definitely really cool, and I think it's great.
Yeah, I really like Brody from the Distillers, and I love Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, have you met Alanis out in Canada?
Yes, Alanis and I sang together at the House of Blues in LA. She was doing a concert and asked me to come on stage and join her, and we sang my song "Losing Grip" together, and then we sang "Ironic" together.
Did you have a blast? Was it a great?
It was like a
experience.
really awesome opportunity for me because I grew up listening to her, and I love her. I think she's great.
People would love to know the stories behind some of the songs that you've written, and the songs that are hits for you. So let's go back to and talk about a couple of songs on the first record. Let's talk about "Complicated," the first hit single, which was such a big track for you in the writing of that song.
Well, I worked with the Matrix on that song, and the really cool thing about that song was I sang it once. I went into the booth and recorded it, and Lauren, who was recording me, was like, "Oh my God, you totally nailed it. Like, you don't even have to sing it again." She goes, "You don't understand. No one does this." And she's like, "Okay, just sing it one more time at least." So I sang it twice.
Just have a safety copy.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I remember writing that in their studio, at their home studio. And yeah, just... What do you want to know?
Yeah, it's amazing. What about Skater Boy? Tell me about that song.
Skater Boy was just kind of like inspiration from like my high school experience. I was really into skateboarding, and I was writing this with Lauren and talking to her about that and explaining that I wanted to do a really cool song that was like fast and kind of rocky. So we all worked on that together, and it's just very true, like how it is with like the preps and the skaters and all the different groups, and how people are concerned with what other people think about them. And Skater Boy is kind of just about a preppy girl liking a skater, but she doesn't want her friends to know because he's like not in their group.
Yeah.
So, and in the end, she should have went with him because everyone else ended up liking him at the end. So it's kind of just a fun song.
Absolutely. Now, what about Losing Grip?
Losing Grip is just one of those things I went, lyrically, it's really kind of just deep and comes from like, bad relationship experiences. I worked with Cliff Magnus on this song, and it was really good, like I said, because with him we really rocked out together. It was a dark song, and this was my favorite song off of my first record, one of them. So it was the fourth single, and when it was a single, I was really glad.
Yeah. Now, what about My Happy Ending, which was a big hit for you on Skin?
Yes. The cool thing about My Happy Ending, Butch and I were in the studio writing this song, and I sang it, and I came back in when I sang like 2 songs in one day, and he called me in the next day, and I listened to it, and I was like, that's the single, like that's it. And I called up my management, and I'm like, I have it. I always know like what songs are the best or good
which
for
things
radio.
are going to be, which things are going to work out as far as singles go. Now, on the new album, The Best Damn Thing, the first single's Girlfriend. And there's been stuff online where some people think, wow, those lyrics are kind of underhanded about getting, there's a little bit of controversy kicked up about the lyrics.
Well, it's funny because, I wrote a lot of this music in the studio not really thinking about what the songs were about. And I was with Luke, and we had a few drinks, and with Girlfriend, I was just like, play something really fast and, like, energetic. And so he started playing the guitar, and I was like, I don't like your girlfriend. I think you need a new one. And we just looked at each other, and we're like, ooh.
That's a cool song.
This is funny. What does this mean? It's really bitchy. And then we just, like, took that and, like, ran with it and just made a really bratty song. And it's, like, to us, it was really humorous. We're like, oh, my God. And we're like, right. It was really fun. So.
Yeah, and so some fans took it literal and said, oh, that's...
yeah, of course, people are like, well, do you think that you should steal people's boyfriends? And I'm like, no, it's not my message. It's not a literal song. It's not serious. It's a joke. It's funny. I think most people get that.
Yeah.